Brito, Dean of the IBS Americas and Doctor in Business Administration at USP. Thank you very much for being with us today. I hope you like this presentation, this talk here, and that you keep in mind the ideas I'm sharing with you today. I also hope you join us for our short-term programs held in Europe, approaching several interesting topics in business management. We have scholarships available for you. And at the end of this presentation, I'll get back to this, okay? I'll make a 15 minutes presentation, very short, and it will be followed by a Q&A session, question and answer session with the help with Mr. Julio. And the theme of this presentation is corporate strategy in the age of the value economy. We are facing a new global context, you know that. This new global context demands new corporate strategies, and we'll discuss how companies from all over the world are adapting their strategies to this new market context, all right? And we'll start talking about the use of value concepts as a competitive tool, how companies are stepping up from the usual approach of just selling goods or services and adopting the concepts and the practices of identifying, creating, and deliver superior value to their customers. After that, I will try to talk about value-based analysis. Value-based analysis is a way to identify segments of clients. And of course, if we are discussing about the creation of value, we gotta talk about where we can find value, what are the origins of value in our products and services. And I'd like to remind you that I wanna hear your opinion. I wanna get in touch with your ideas, your questions. So please send your contribution to this debate. You can send your questions during the presentation, and we'll have time to answer them. And the 3 best questions will earn scholarships, special scholarships. So tap in the YouTube chat using your Gmail and send your question, your contribution. And you can also get in touch with us through WhatsApp in the number shown in the screen right now. And if you prefer, you can add our Skype address and all your questions will be answered at the end of this presentation. The 3 best contributions will earn special scholarships covering 90% of discount over your programs. But let's say a company is losing customers all over the world, and they conclude that what is happening is because customers don't find value in the products offered by them. Should this company look for different ways to sophisticate its products? Should this company try to add more design or technology or add value to the products? I'd like to invite you to think about this topic. You can write down your opinion in the chat, in the YouTube tab, and at the end of this presentation, I will get back to this, okay? All right. You know, at the end, I will also talk a little bit more about our international mobility program. International scholarships available for you to study in Europe. There, students from all over the world are welcome to apply for a scholarship there, a partial scholarship covering a great percentage of the tuition costs in our summer or winter short-term program, okay? And the deadline for applying this, I'm seeing this now, was extended. You can send your application form until next Sunday, October 23rd. If you are interested in to become a scholarship holder, stay with us, and in a few minutes I will be back to this, okay? All right. You know, strategy is about competition. Companies compete in the market for customers. Companies are always looking for solutions that in the market as a whole, or at least in some segments, solutions that help them to do not have to compete. Will they look for the so-called market locking solutions using patents, using exclusivity contracts with suppliers, or using other business practices in such a way that, at least in that segment or for a while, the competition will be reduced or will be eliminated. But when a competitor breaks this barrier, a company must compete again and to need well-defined and well-implemented market strategies all over again. In the organization, corporate strategy must turn into something concrete. You know, a corporate strategy cannot be just a fancy phrase written somewhere in the company lobby. When functional areas of the company put the strategy in their day-by-day activities, just when each area of the company translate the general strategy into something concrete, just in this moment, your client will feel the strategy. You know that functional areas are general administration and operations, human resource people, the finance people, the market strategy or marketing area, which is, by the way, responsible for the interface between the company and the market. And the market strategy area or marketing area is responsible for implementing, for developing the corporate strategy, a strategy that englobes the relations between company and the market. You know, the economic development in the recent years was marked by the expressive enhancement of productivity. In industries, it was the factory automation. In agriculture, the mechanization development of genetics. In services, the use of IT. These elements altogether contribute to reach a point in which the productivity capacity exceeds in most of the markets the consumption necessities. And the practical result of this, from the consumer's point of view, of course, is that you can choose. You can evaluate options looking for the one that delivers more benefits. Without any doubt, of course, there is still the purchasing power issue. Who can buy more will buy more, and the ones who can buy less will buy less. But in general, most of people in the majority of the markets are now buying more, buying a greater quantity of products and services than generation that came before. And people can then make their choice, not only based on the quantity they will take home, but considering the benefits they will receive, which many authors call the set of benefits they call value. We live nowadays the so-called value economy, the economy in which companies have this effort to produce value, companies' effort to deliver superior value to their customers. And of course, this is a challenge for many companies, since the perceived value by the customers can come from objective, very tangible values, aspects, but the perceived value can come as well from subjective, intangible aspects of the delivery. Our conversation today is about this: how to manage a company in such a way that someone can constantly identify the value aimed by the customers that are constantly changing too, and how to produce and to deliver superior value in comparison to competitors, considering that the competitors are always improving their actions too. Ultimately, how to elaborate a market strategy in the context of value economy. Well, in the relation with the market, the company aims at delivering value to the customers. All right. But there is a huge confusion about this, including in the specialized literature, besides a series of distortions when using the expression add value. What is value and what is to add value for the client? The common sense supposes, and great part of the literature confirms, that it's some kind of process in which the product becomes better and more expensive. But this is not always true. Value to the client is the set of benefits that a given product delivers. It can be a benefit that really is part of the product or service the client is buying, or can also be a benefit related to the brand image or to the services provided before, during, or after the use of the products themselves. And it doesn't imply a more expensive product or service, a more sophisticated, at least not necessarily. A nice way of adding value to the product is sometimes make it simpler, making it cheaper, or making it different, or any other initiative that brings meaning and value to the client. We all know that conquering markets in high-income countries like the United States or Western Europe or Japan, countries with a large middle class, with a high purchasing power, conquering these markets often goes by the constant sophistication of products. But is this true for all markets around the world? I'm not sure, and sadly it's not true for all markets from low-income emerging countries. I know that in a not too distant past, few companies cared about consumer markets in emerging countries, but this picture has changed. Today, developed markets are saturated, and much of the opportunities for North American and European companies are nowadays related to conquering customers in emerging countries. And we have to make an effort to adapt. We have to understand what we have learned in business administration books, what we have learned in books written by authors from developed countries, having in mind companies from developed countries. The knowledge, the practices suggested by these authors will not necessarily work in emerging countries. You need to identify and seize the many opportunities of product value addition, which we call value drivers. You have to understand the meaning of value for the client segments you are working with in order to know the possibilities of adding value to these customers. Last century, the American Market Association, the world's leading market association, defined the market as a continuous process of planning and developing a market offer to create exchanges in which people get satisfied. Well, it was a nice vision for that time. However, nowadays, the same organization evolved, this view changed. Marketing is now defined as an organizational function and a set of processes to create, communicate, and deliver value. Value not only to the customers, but also to the society at large. The word value is the great revolution in this story. The word, the expression value is now at the center of this concern. To deliver value to the customer doesn't mean delivering a banknote for him, doesn't even mean to deliver a product necessarily better. It just means delivering the customers a product or a service that gives them the most satisfaction with the purchase. Customers are seeking product that delivers them more benefits, and benefits in different and unusual ways. This is a process with different meanings for each different case, in each different market, and for each different market segment. And we are particularly interested in understanding how it really works in the global context, okay? Marketing or market strategy, as you know, has been defined as the management of what a company delivers to its clients, a package that has the products, its technical specifications, brands, but the existence of the company in the market is guaranteed when it's able to give value to the customer. The company needs to a competitive position in the market to identify one or more segments that represent a good opportunity to growth. If the company succeeds in this identification of a segment that the company can properly serve, it means these clients, at least this segment, will be able to offer the company bigger margins, but before moving ahead here, let me just remember what is a segment. You know that in market strategy, it's defined as a group of active or potential customers. This group is a segment if it reacts in a homogeneous way to a value proposition. Unlike any other segments, it's possible that a product can be sold to two different market segments, for instance, in two different countries, and to be communicated the same product in a way here and another way there. In the international marketing, this is absolutely common. Let me think of an example to make it simpler for me to explain to you. Volkswagen, it's a German car maker that you know, produces a car called Passat. In Latin America, this car is offered as a luxury car for executives. Although in the United States, given the competitive environment of the American automobile industry, the same car, the same Passat is offered as a mid-sized car, which main characteristics, the marketing appeal is to be very economical, something very different from what marks the success of this car here in Latin America. This shows how important and at the same time how complex is to identify market segments. All right? Well, with this, we are coming to the end of this presentation, a presentation that anticipates what we will be discussing with you in our short-term programs held in Europe, programs that are attracting students from all over the world, students like yourself, students that understand the relevance of traveling abroad, being in touch with students from all over the world, not only the professors, but also students that are trying to build a career connected to the demands of our today's world, all right? Once more, thank you for your participation in this meeting. Well, but let's now get back to my initial question of this presentation. Remember that I asked you if a company is losing customers in operation in different countries. This company finds out the reason for its problems is that the customers do not find value in their products, in the products offered by this company. Should this company seek ways to sophisticate more its products? Should this company add more technological elements, more features? The way to deliver value to the customers passes necessarily by adding value to the product. Well, my opinion, I believe you got it, is that companies need to be alert to the difference in the micro-market environment, alert to the difference in the way consumers buy, difference in the way the product is exposed to the client, as the culture of each region or country affects the perception of value. All right? And now, with that, we come to the end of our conversation today. Thank you very much for your participation. We are aware of the difficulties students face when participating in international programs. That's why we manage a scholarship program in partnership with the Kuoa Business School in association with the International Business School Americas, hosting international programs in Italy on January or July. These programs are designed for undergraduates and graduates also, open to all fields of study and with no Italian language background required, all right? Offered in the most industrialized region in Italy. It's in the northern area of the country, in a very small city called Altavilla Vicentina, between Milan and Venice. And from our beautiful campus, we lead short trips to Geneva, paying there a visit to the World Trade Organization, and also to the United Nations in the European headquarters, okay? We make these visits for you to not only visit the place, but also to talk to experts, helping you to understand our globalized world. And we have extended the deadline until next Sunday, October 23rd, for applications for partial scholarships that allow you to attend our scholarship program at a very special condition. The application process is very simple. You gotta just download and fill the application form and email it back to us. This can be a small, simple step for you now for a huge movement in your career and in your life. All right? Once again, thank you very much for being with us. And let's move on to our Q&A session. Remember, once again, that it's possible to send questions. You just need to log on the Gmail account and write through the chat tab at the top right of your screen. And you can also use WhatsApp or Skype if you prefer, all right? Now I'm going to ask Mr. Julio to read your question here. Remember that the three best contributions to this debate, the three best questions, I got several questions in anticipation. The three best contributions will earn a very special scholarship, a scholarship covering 90% of your tuition costs in our program in Italy, okay? So, Julio, please.
Miss Chloe has a contribution to give to our webinar as well as a question. I believe the best way to deliver value to customers is to anticipate what they will want in the future. Providing a customer-shaped product or service will ensure the value is maximized. This can only be done successfully if the company has a particular section of its workforce dedicated to serving and asking the customers what they would like and how they would do it.
Okay? Yes, I know.
And her question is, I'd like to ask how important it is for a company to change their brand image based on their geographic location.
Well, very well put your words, Chloe. I understand and I agree with you. I'd like to add a difficult aspect of managing things like you said. The problem, Chloe, is that there is a time to market delay. It's natural for any company. Think of a car maker. Think of Ford or Volkswagen or any other company. If the guys ask now, October 2016, the guys ask now, what is the car you want to buy? They will get information from the public, start drawing the new model, start creating the process, producing the car, developing the supply chain, delivering the products, etc., etc. The car will end up in the market when? Next year? No, probably by 2020. Is the car people want now the same car they will be wanting in 2020? Probably not. Right, Chloe? So the problem is not just asking what the clients want now, but as you said, trying to anticipate in a time lapse relatively long what will be the demands for the markets in a 2 or 3 year period from now on. All right? And considering the brand management is the same complication. We know that the world is changing. 3 or 4 years ago, we were facing in developed countries a huge crisis, unemployment rates rising, and emerging countries were in the top of the wave. Now the scenario is changing. You know that China development is not that hot, and the economic development in India is not performing that well too. Russia and Brazil are facing difficulties due to political reasons, but also due to economic reasons. So we don't know what the world will look like in 2 or 3 years from now. But we gotta think, we gotta create scenarios. I believe you have heard of a specific kind of strategic thinking tool called scenarios technique. Scenarios technique is when a company tries to understand not only one future, but it's called scenarios because we think of different futures, possible futures, and we base upon our analysis of what the future probably can look like, option 1, 2, 3, 4, we can try to create what we call robust strategies. Robust strategies, the meaning of a strategy that can be positive to the company regardless to what the future will look like in the future. So when we create or manage a brand, we gotta take care of these trends. What is happening to the world now? What is the country of origin impact over the country, over the company brand now, and what will be the impact of the country of origin impact over the brand in a period of time in the future. So we can try to anticipate the movements of the market and create some actions to contribute to the solution of our problems now and in the future. All right, Chloe, thank you very much for your participation. Thank you and congratulations. Please.
Now we have a question from Mr. Joshua. How often does a corporate strategy change, given the general conditions that customer preference change as well as competitors?
Another excellent question. You know that although it looks like a very traditional old area of knowledge in business management, strategy is a very recent field of knowledge. Until the 50s, business management authors were worried about how to manage the process, how to find resources, and so on and so on. The most important contributions to the strategic thinking and the field of strategy in the business management area started taking place in the 70s, the 80s. In the 80s, we had this contribution of Michael Porter that you probably have heard of him. But nowadays, we know that the most important aspect of a strategy is that it must be able to guide the actions of the company in a relatively long period of time, but it's got to be flexible. In the past, we knew already it was necessary to be flexible because the world was changing. Now we know that the world is changing even faster than it changed before. So the strategy got to be even more flexible. I still think that we need to project our future. We need to talk about 15 years or 20 years or at least 10 years, what the company should look like in 10 years from now. I still believe that. But once we define these macro objectives, we gotta be smart and flexible enough to adjust our strategy over time. You don't need to handcuff your managers and say, this is the strategy, you gotta do this. If you do that, what happens is that the competitive environment can change, the demands, the expectations of your clients can change, you froze your company in a model that is not up to date to the market requirements, you know? So, in general, I believe we gotta think in the future, be flexible to make small adjustments, and at least once a year to review everything, what we have been doing so far and what we will be doing from now on. Okay, Mr. Joshua, thank you very much for sending your question. Please.
Now we have a contribution from Mr. Ademola from Nigeria. I believe the best strategy could be achieved by effectively working and monitoring each of these processes, ensuring clients and customers get the best of enjoyment and satisfaction from your products. In other words, making sure your products and services solves a unique problem. B. Ensure consistent market research to be sure your product is still relevant in the midst of competitors. Letter C. Consistently improving on your products based on response from the market and your consumers. And letter D, provision of realistic cost reduction mechanism that ensures quality, service, and profit maximization.
It's not easy to do so, eh? That's it? That's it, his question?
Yes, it is.
All right, that's not easy. I'm positively agree with your perspective. I understand that the product can be updated in its features, not only in terms of the product characteristics itself, but also in terms of the services provided before, during, after the consumption of the item itself. And the market research is a tool to develop this analysis, to create more options for the clients, to create options to not only know what the clients want now, but also to anticipate what is going to happen in the next few years. So you are being able to reduce the problem that Ms. Chloe anticipated earlier, which is the real issue of the anticipation of client expectations in the future. But I'd like to add another aspect here. Sometimes clients don't know what they want. A client, if you ask a client 5 years ago, do you want an iPhone? Probably they would say, no, we don't want an iPhone like this size. If you ask a client 10 years ago, do you need high-speed internet access when you go to the streets? They will probably say, no, we don't. If you ask the clients, do you want a video game like a Pokemon Go that you go to the streets to play, having fun with your friends? Probably they say, well, I don't know if I want that. So what I'm telling you is that sometimes we gotta accept the fact that business management belongs to the field of knowledge called social science. We are not a quantitative hard science. We gotta try our chances. We gotta try to create something new. Sometimes business administration is defined as a hard science, as a way to objectively understand what the customers want. And we know that sometimes business management is a kind of art, is a kind of way to deliver to the market things that nobody have ever think of it, creating solutions for problems that our clients don't even realize they have, offering new ways to explore pleasure, to having fun, to speed up the process of their lives, trying new ways to create options for our company's problems in the future. Okay, so thank you very much for sending your questions. I believe we are without any more time to answer other questions you may have. Thank you very much for being with us this day. And again, I invite you to know and to get in touch with the programs that we are offering in Europe. I hope in the future you realize the importance of attending short-term executive programs, and we have now opportunities for you to do so. We have scholarships available for you, and I hope you join us in these programs as well. Get in touch with us in the future for other webinars like this one, okay? Thank you very much and see you soon. Bye-bye.